Hello, welcome to another episode of Just Thought You Should Know. We have some sad news to report to you tonight. Our guest host, Mr. Rydell Danzy, will not be able to make it tonight as one of his fallen comrades in the services has recently just passed away. So we're going to reschedule him for another meeting. This was going to be looking forward to having a great cooking show, talking about foods, stuff like that. We're still going to dish up some food here. Just a little bit of change. It's going to be a little bit more of a food for thought, if you will. So hopefully you'll get something out of this. Let's talk about what is in the news where wildlife is concerned. Got a couple articles here that I'd like to discuss a little bit with the group. This first one right here that I have. Oop, there you go. It talks about the new research shows the entire life cycle of deer. Okay, I think we all perceive what we know it is. What is it? In this article, it talks about fawns does actually, that are giving birth to fawns on the same hill, the same time. I find that fascinating. It's in this report, it was doe number 96. It had done multiple births on that and talked about how close in proximity the fawns were all born at that time. Now, where did the does come from and how far do they have to travel before they get to what we call or known as the fawning grounds? Is it 50 miles, 100 miles, 20 miles? What is it? There's thoughts in this that say that the fawns that know where they're going and are traveling at longer distances generally will have a little bit more of an extended gestation period. Reason for that is they perceive where the good fawning grounds are going to be, where there's good habitat, where there's water and stuff. So they try not to give birth, as odd as this may sound, until they get to the place. I found that as fascinating. That is the first time that I personally had ever heard that. And I started thinking about that. There's no studies, hasn't been any recent studies here in Nevada on it, but I think it's time that we study the recruitment factor. We know pretty much what the estimated population is, so therefore in a business sense we know what's on the shelf to be sold. We only want to sell a portion of that, therefore we do that in quotas going on out. But do we really know what's coming in the back door to replace the shelves for the following year? I think that's up for debate. Do I have the answer? No, I sure wish I did. But in this is put out by the Outdoor News Research, trib.com/outdoor/news research shows entire life cycle. I don't have the actual link, or I would put it on our page. It got sent to me, so it's just easy for me to click on it, get it, and download it. But hopefully you'll be able to find it because it's a short read. I found it highly fascinating, and I've always wondered in Nevada, how far is the migration route? Is it the same route every year? And if so, when we talk about shortages of water, precipitation, habitat, quality of habitat, wouldn't it be easier if we knew or had a better understanding of where those migration routes were? I think the state and the biologists have a fairly good idea of where they're at, but the question is, are those changing? And the reason I ask that question is our deer herd as a population has been on a 30-year decline. Okay, that's not any news to most of the viewers of this show or the Southern Nevada Coalition's Facebook page. What is a little bit different is, what do we really know about that? And are we going to get any studies that talk about migration? because while the population is going down, landowner tax is going up. Coincident? Don't know. If this falls true, and you look at how many fawns are born in or near ag fields, maybe the reason that the increase is there is those are the most healthiest. So they go full term, they go the full distance. This is speculation on my part, but I'm asking the question for this. So, do you think we need to find the answer to that? I know that the Clark County CAB has asked in future predator management programs, because they have money for studies, let's do a fawn mortality study. And in this article here, they had vaginal implants in there that they could actually put a transmitter in, that when the birth was given, it would drop and send a signal that, hey, this doe number 96 has dropped her fawns, let's go check them out. So they go on out there and they've been able to put a collar on. Now granted, these aren't real strong, healthy fawns, and so you got to be particular attention to the size and stuff of the collar, but they do it, and they are gathering some information. I think if another state can do it, I think that we should, unless we already have that information. And if we do, where is it? Why isn't it out or easily defined? So that's one aspect of it. So let me move on to our next just thought you should know. So the title of this show at the last minute got kind of changed to who has a seat at the proverbial table. Well, here's what we know for sure. The biologists have a seat at the table. The NDOW officials, state wildlife, which are governor-appointed officials, have a seat at the table. And sportsmen have a seat at the table. And with the sportsmen, the general public have a seat at the table. But who really takes their seat at the table? Who really gives input? Well, if you look at last month's meeting with the state wildlife, there was an issue that was brought up about should we continue to hunt. There was actually a petition presented to stop the use of hounds for hunting bear. Okay, so in that, the department received in excess of 2,300 emails. Okay, I don't know the makeup, I don't know the breakdown, how many were for, how many were against. My point is that was a hot topic. So I guess my question is, how many sportsmen really had a say in it? We do have that seat at the table. And, you know, at that same meeting, at the last meeting, there was another hot issue. Clark County had presented a resolution to outlaw wildlife killing contest. You and I know it as a coyote calling contest. However, the fact that the resolution that was presented says wildlife killing, in the state of Nevada, the definition of a wildlife is a bird, a fish, a mammal, crustacean, etc. So hence the word fish. And contest. So does that mean fishing contests are going to be outlawed? I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't have that crystal ball. But guess who has a say in that? We as sportsmen have a seat at that proverbial table. The question is, are we going to use it or not? Or are we going to give that to somebody else? So it's been my observation the last decade or more that a lot of people are under the impression, well, somebody else is going to take care of that. And it's probably true. Okay? I guess my question to ask the group is, give me the description of that somebody else. Who are they? What do they look like? Can I pick them out of a crowd? And my only response back to that can be, if you want to know the best description of who somebody else is, look in the mirror. It's each and every one of us sportsmen, myself included. Now, with that being said, this isn't to chastise you or anything else. This is just to raise some awareness of what's going on or what's not going on. We have multiple ways to have the seat at the table. Through the use of technology, maybe we can't make a meeting. But you know what? On NDOW's website, every single state wildlife commissioner has their phone number publication on there. It's on there. The chairman of each local CAB has their name and contact information on there. It could be as simple as a phone call to you, to them. It could be an email. It could be an email that says, hey, on item such and such on your agenda, I'm not going to be able to meeting. Please read this into the record. This is my name and stuff. My question is, with last year's big game status of how many people applied, there's 349,000 tags put in. Of that, there's 52,000 plus actual residents of Nevada. We're not counting the non-resident stuff, however, they have a seat at the table as well. But yet, of the 52,000, how many of us are watching what's going on? How many of us are paying attention? How many of us care? Maybe it doesn't matter to you that says, look, there's so many things for me to do out there. If I don't get to go fishing, if I don't get to go hunting, it's no skin off my nose. That could very well be true. I know that a lot of the, I'm going to say the older generation, I put myself in that group, like to see the heritage and the legacy go on. Here's why I do this show. Here's what I do. Here's why I do what I do. This is one of 6 grandkids that I have. He's 1 year old, had a birthday. The very first present he got from his grandfather, i.e. me, for his birthday party was a duck call. Now, do you think he knows which end to blow in or out of? No. Do you think he cares? No. But do you think he gets excited when he hears a sound come out of that, even though he doesn't know what it is? Yeah. My daughter has sent me videos of belly laughs, of them just sitting there playing with it. They happen to be twins, had a boy and a girl. Both of them got duck calls. Well, that's near and dear to me. I've shot my fair share of big game, deer and stuff. Mine is leaving it to the younger generation coming in. I believe it's up to us to teach them of what this means and how to be good stewards. Got to teach them the ways. Had a conversation the other day with a couple people. The astounding thing for me is how many youth today truly know how to start a fire without 2 cups of gasoline and a big log. Ask yourself that. Have you adequately even taught your kids survival, cooking, just to have fun? Sit around and have a drink of your choice and relive some memories around a campfire. There's nothing better than the smoke of a campfire. However, too much will make your eyes water, I'll tell you that. The old adage is, I think it follows the ugly. So guess who's always getting up and moving? So my point is it time for us to get back to the seat at the proverbial table? Let me tell you why I asked that. I did some stats of my own. I got them right here. Big game for last year. We know how many people applied. How many of you guys know what the success rate was for the area that you put in for? I've got it right here. All of it, and by the way, all of this information that I'm going to show you came from NDOW's website. I got to tell you, NDOW has done a superb job of putting all the critical information out there. This right here, you probably can't read it, probably can barely see it. Let me put it up there. It will tell you the breakdown of the area, the hunt. Was it junior? Was it antlered? Was it, what was it? And let's just go, let's start at our supposed largest population in the state, as everybody knows it, is the rubies, area 10, the East Humboldts. Let's look at those stats. Area 10 in the all-legal weapon for last season. Now there was 3 seasons. That was a early, middle, and late. Okay? When you combine all 3 of those seasons, there was 1,540 tags issued. The quota was 1,550, but there was 10 tags left over just for that hunt in that area. Of the 1,540 tags, how many people do you think harvested? Are you ready for this? 326. There's 326 harvested. That gave you a success rate. Now this is for antlered, all legal weapon, 21.16. Not that great. Okay, let's take a look at the archery. Archery historically is an 8 to 10% success rate. We know that. The question is how many animals do you truly want to harvest? And if the answer is 10, then at a 10% rate, if the answer is 100, you almost got to give out 1,000 tags. As odd as that sounds, people misconstrue it as, well, they're going to take 1,000 deer out for archery. No. Historical trend data has shown us it's 8, 10, 12%. Okay, so in archery, there was 465 tags given out. 60 deer were harvested. Now it's an above average, actually, for the norm. The percentage on that was 12.9, almost 13%. Okay, let's go over to muzzleloader. Muzzleloader, they gave out 79 tags, and of those 79, 22 deer were harvested. Okay, that's a 29%. So as you look at this all-legal weapon, archery and muzzleloader, when you combine those, and by the way, yes, it's true, muzzleloader had the highest success rate in those 3 categories. If you look at Area 10 as an area, you had 2,084 tags issued. You had 408 deer harvested. Okay? For a success rate of 19.57. What's key to this statistic is what was the amount of animals you wanted as a biologist, you wanted to have harvested out of Area 10. We know that typically in the past, success rate for mule deer statewide has been, I'm going to say between 42 to 48% as an average. Yes, there are some of them that are up 60, 70, 80%. I'm talking about state average. Okay, so state average goes, I think this year is down around mid-30s or so, but that still shows at Area 10. So with that being said, is you as a sportsman, not a biologist, not having the degree in it and stuff, and for rifle, having 1,540 tags and 326 deer harvested, would you think that there's more deer left over in that area because they didn't get harvested, so that you as a biologist could recommend the following year a higher quota for that area, knowing that if it stays with the trend, you're still not going to have that many deer harvested? That's one school of thought. The other school of thought is it was a struggle to even find those 326. There is no deer left in that area. If that's true, and I'm saying if, your logical response would be, we've already harvested the amount of deer that we need to out of that area that is available, therefore we need to do a reduction on the tags. The department for this draw that just ended on Monday has raised it to 1,850 tags in hopes of taking more deer out of that area. The question for you, I, the rest of the sportsmen, and to validate what the biologists are recommending, let's stop right there for a minute. If you had an ailment, you'd make a doctor's appointment, you go in and you go see a doctor, okay? And let's say you had your jaw was hurting, and you went in. Doctor might say, well, we're going to need do some X-rays and stuff. And if he came back and said, you know what, I think we need to amputate your right toe. Doc, my foot doesn't hurt, it's my jaw. Well, yeah, but I think this is the remedy for it. You'd probably go, man, that guy's a quack. I'm going to go get a second or maybe a third opinion. And that truly goes on in our lifetime. As we know by stats, doctors kill more people than guns do. Way more. Okay? I'm not trying to say anything about doctors, but I think the stats speak for itself. What I'm saying is, in our arena that we manage wildlife in, if the group of biologists prescribe one thing and we don't agree with it, where do we go? Can we get a second opinion? Can we get a third? Nope. We have to convince the biologists that their prescription is wrong. How do we do that if we're not at the table? You can piss and moan and complain and talk about how dumb they are, how super. Dude, our state is full of Monday afternoon quarterbacks. Full of them. What we need is people that want to get in the game. We need the fans that are willing to go to the arena to watch the game being played out. You can boo, you can applaud, you can do whatever. My point is, if you've got knowledge and you've got expertise of a certain area, of a certain species, of a certain time of the year, bring that data to the microphone or in an email and lay that down so that that can be discussed. Now, I've talked to guides that have just said, Area 10, the deer don't exist. Well, who's right? The biologists say, well, we fly it and we count this many. But we don't fly the whole area. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but what they end up doing is they say, hey, in this area that we covered, we found this many deer, and this is what we counted. And so we figured through our program that we have, our population model, you'll hear this term a lot, our population model says we have this many deer. Okay? So if that's true and you say, we typically want to take out X amount of percentage, then you're going to establish a quota to meet that parameter. But if you disagree with it, you can stand up to the mic. And you can say, I disagree with it. Okay? Let's just run through some of these others. And all of this information is on NDOW's website. Okay? Let me show you what NDOW does. See this right here? Let me get this in the camera here. 2020, 2021 Big Game Status Book. Well, what do you mean, Big Game Status Book? In here, it'll talk about California, it'll talk about all of the big game species. Okay? Let's pull out an area right here real fast in mule deer. Let's just open the page up. Unit 071 to 079 and 091. Survey data. Postseason aerial composition surveys were not included in 2020. Guys, with this pandemic, a lot of things was off. Heck, half of NDOW's employees had to work from home. It's our governor that sets these parameters of what a government official can and can't do. Don't blame them. Okay, a spring aerial composition survey was conducted in March of 2021 with a total of 2,546 deer were classified. with an observed ratio of 32 fawns for 100 adults. Now that's data. That's status. That's what they're telling us. So that's how they use that information. And you putting in for a tag, you can read all this about every area that there is. NDOW does not hide this information. It's very easy to get on the website. Just click on the hunt. If you want to go hunting, where you got hunting, fishing, you know, click on hunt. They even had a category, top 10 resources. Again, top 10 resources. You had 10 topics that you could extract information from to help make your choice. Guess what? The non-consumptive user knows how to navigate that website because they want to get every bit of information they can and try to use it against us. I think we can match them. I think we go head and tails above what they do. Now, I showed this to you. This is 2020, 21s. 2018, 2019. 2017, 2018. The reason I'm pulling this stuff up and showing it to you is the topics that we talk about on this show, we just don't pull this out of our back pocket. We've looked at it. We see what some of the hot items are. We're not afraid, as a coalition, we are not afraid to tackle the hot potatoes. If nothing else, that hot potato is an opportunity for us to show sportsmen what we can do with their help. This is a prime example. Let me go down this real quick. I just got 6 areas out of all of these. I got area 13, area 11, 22, 23, and 24. All legal weapon, area 13. Oops, hold on, I'm sorry. That was what's prescribed for this year. Last year's 346 hunters took to the field, 106 deer were harvested. It's a 30.81, 31%. Okay? Archery, same area, 65 tags were given up. 33 deer were harvested at area 13, a 52% success rate in archery. Okay? Muzzleloader, 42% in 42 tags given out, 21 harvested, 51%. Overall, in area 13, all 3 weapons, 451 tags, 160 deer harvested for a combined percentage of 35.46. That was the norm for the state. That was very close to normal. What was not normal was the all-legal weapon. Now you got to look at the seasons on that. Did that have an effect on the migration? Did the weather have an effect on that? Las Vegas down here, Clark County, we had over 240 days last year and no precipitation. That's not only for them to drink, that was to water the habitat. Plus to eat up some dried old habitat. The deer shooter don't. Area 11, 369 tags given out, 179 harvested, success rate of 48.5. Woo! That was an area to hunt last year, if you're a rifle hunter. Archery, 97 tags given out, 116, 16.49% success rate. Again, that's double what the average is. Okay, muzzleloader, 22 tags, 12 successful, 45%. Total, 488 tags, 207 deer were harvested, for a combined total of 42.41. That was way above normal. Okay, so area 11 was the hot ticket for last year. Did you put in for it this year? Would you have if you had known that information ahead of time? Because this information's been up for weeks on NDOW's page. Area 22, real common area down here in the south. There's 402 tags given out, only 148 deer were harvested. Okay, that's 36.81% success rate. Archery, 73 tags given out, 16 successful, 23% success rate. Muzzleloader, 16 tags, 7 harvested, 44%. Total, 491 tags, 171, 34.82. Wow. You guys getting the gist here? Okay, all of this information. I don't think I need to go through the other ones because there was no real standouts. The northern part of the state, I believe that the mountain lions are having more of an impact than what we are led to believe. So, what's the solution for that? My point is, we as sportsmen should be looking at what is the limiting factor of mule deer in the state, and what can we do to overcome that? Most big game in the state is sustainable or thriving. Sometimes they're thriving so much that we need to cut them back, which has been the case for, starting about, 2015, 16. There was a massive issuance of tags given out to bring the population down. It's back down to around 13,000 right now, but it was way up there. It's probably up around 18,000 or so. And by the way, when we talk populations, guys, nobody knows the actual number. It changes every day, changes every hour. So, NDOW and their biologists have to deal in trends. It's the averages. The more data you can have, the more you can average out, and the better your confidence factor can go up of what you're prescribing as the remedy for that. Okay. Let's take a long, hard look. We have our next wildlife meeting for the state is June 25th and 26th. This one's going to be held in Winnemucca. Hopefully, it's not going to be excuse me. It's not going to be virtual. Okay. Hopefully, this one will come on up and it'll be in person. Can't make it to Winnemucca? Send them an email. Call up one of the county commissioners yourself. Have a conversation with them. I think, they are there to represent you. They are there to represent the wildlife. But they can't help represent you and your beliefs or your thoughts if you don't let them know how best to represent you. So we are going to reschedule. We're going to try to have Mr. Rydell Danzy on for next week. In talking with him before the show last week when I had asked him to come on, I was amazed at the comments. I asked him, how is bear food to eat? Before he could answer me, his wife said, "It is remarkable. It will blow you away." I'm like, wow, really? Okay. I personally I've never had an opportunity to try it. I don't know. Would I try it? Absolutely. And then I said, okay, let me ask you about mountain lion. Now he said mountain lion is very good. This year, he was going to sample a coyote. I don't know that I'm really ready for that yet, but I try to stay open-minded, and I may say, I try everything once. So, folks, I want to tell you thank you for tuning in. We are going to get a Rydell back for next week. And then stay tuned, because probably right after that, we're probably going to have a panel come in. We're probably going to have 4 people in here, and we're going to discuss in depth some of these items that are going on, and see if we can't come to an understanding of why are things the way they are. What do we got to do? I know that one of the things that concerns us is the fact that you look at New Mexico. Last month, New Mexico lost by a vote of 35 to 34. One vote. They lost trapping statewide. The sportsmen, or I shouldn't say sportsmen, the trappers, and probably the sportsmen, in the state of New Mexico are trying to round up money now to sue the state. Ever heard of the old adage, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure? I think that stands true with them. The reason I bring New Mexico up is, guess what they lost before they lost trapping statewide? Yes, they lost coyote calling contest. So when they lost the coyote contest, they thought, okay, well, we lost that. Guess what? They came back for more. So I need to ask the question, what are they going to come back for this time? I don't know. But I know that if there's a lot of people up there standing in their way, they're not going to get away with very much. Folks, here in Nevada, our state motto is, we are battle born. It's our motto for a reason. We need to fight as hard as we can to save what we have. And not only save, to prohibit what other states have done that we deem is not good of coming into our state. I don't think I need to name any states. We're close enough in proximity to them. If we band together, if we stick together, and we take our seat at the proverbial table, I predict we will come out victorious. Folks, thank you. Tune in next week, and we will have another episode for you.